Well, we're joined by Director of Football Jordan Clark for a look back on the past season and academic year. Jordan, good to see you.
Good to see you, Dan.
I guess we've got to start by reflecting on the accomplishment of the first team, retaining their National League status for another season. A fantastic achievement, being obviously one of the few part-time sides in the league. Obviously, from our perspective as well, we've got the off-field developments with the new stand, the new away stand being put in, and progress, obviously looking to purchase Meadowbank as well. Just get your thoughts and your take on the past season for the first team.
Yeah, well, it's a club, Dan, that always has firsts, as Mark will always consistently say, and this year will be another year of firsts upcoming. But the last season has been tremendous for the club. Not only on the field, the massive jump that is the National League. In terms of the calibre of sides. Size of clubs, for us to be toe-to-toe with them and have days like beating Notts County at home and, going away to Wrexham and everything that's going on there and scoring against them and just, loads of moments that you just think, God, that's for my tenure of 7-8 years of being a part of the club, like that was that's the stuff that dreams are made of. But it's all like professional work, and what Mark and the team have done this year to keep us in the National League is massive for the growth of every aspect of the club and the town. I think it's massive. All the partners, all our school partners were, so pleased that we managed to do that, because obviously it just keeps the trajectory going in the right way. And I was there for a number of the games, and with this new sort of hybrid model we're adopting this year of a few mornings, I only see us having another fantastic season next year. So this year, on a first team level, I put it up there with one of the biggest achievements in my time, with all the promotions that we've had. I think I've been a part of 5 promotions in my time, so 4 or 5. So I'd definitely put it up there alongside, the Bostic season when we won it by 22 points, and obviously last year that famous goal. So I put it up there with them.
And you mentioned there the hybrid model and switching to mornings. We've just entered that world earlier this week, haven't we, with pre-season underway, and the first team are starting their pre-season preparations at Red Hill FC, a partnership which was recently announced, and of course as the manager of Red Hill, you've played a big part in setting that partnership up. Just get your thoughts on that and the move to the hybrid model.
Well, I've been a part of it this week, obviously with my director of football hat on, and also the partnership. It was a no-brainer, but obviously it helped having a conduit like myself between the two clubs, which allowed it to be, a very sort of seamless process. But equally, Mark and Jerry, the chairman at Red Hill, were, so sort of, consistent and wanting to work with each other, and nothing was ever too much for them. And so we was able to get that over the line, which is fantastic. I think it's just a great blueprint that they're, in Surrey alone, there's so many clubs that could help each other, and what Red Hill get from it, in terms of exposure, and having a club like Dorking Wanderers at their ground, and then equally Red Hill being able to support something like that and try and push their own professionalism is fantastic for both clubs. And then already the hybrid model of having that extra time of morning training is just unbelievable, the sort of gains you get from that. And it's not so much just on the playing side. It's, with Ross coming in and the work he wants to do, and the management team that are already there, and everyone who's made the sacrifices and adjustments to do it. Already you're seeing huge gains from it in terms of the time they get with the players, the way the players feel. It's very difficult, Dan, even at lower levels of non-league, to do the 7:30, 9 o'clock training slot after a hard day at work. Now they've got it encompassed in their day, which allows, a fresher outlook on their training and the way they do things. So I think the gains they'll get from it will be huge, in loads of different departments. And I think that's only boding well for the season ahead.
On the academy side of things, it's been a real year of progress we've had here. We've welcomed more students before, not just on the BTEC side of things with us here at the academy, but for our partnerships with Ashcombe and Donato as well. Our top under-19 sides are competing in the National League as well for the first time this season. And more learners have featured in the B team as well. And of course, they went on to finish in the top 3 for the second season running. So a year of real great progress on the field for the academy.
Yeah, so on the field for us, obviously, again, sort of following suit with the first team, we made that jump to get an academy license in the National League. Um, we had to jump through many hoops and put a lot of things in place, which is great for us as a club. And that was an incredible season to be in that competition with the stature of clubs that have been in it since it began, 3-4 years ago, and it was a real jump in level. But we really found our feet, sort of that turn of Christmas. The players really started believing, and we had a main group of first years that were involved in that, and they will be so much better off for that experience going into their second year. Um, all the teams done really well in the alliance, the tactics league. We were competitive throughout, and naturally having such an influx of students last year through our partnerships with Ashcombe, Donosa, and our BTEC program being so successful with UK over many years. It was always sort of trying to find our feet with the number of teams, and we managed to do that. And I think next year we're in a lot better place to kick on again. The players' experience this year and the influx of quality from like Richard King's under 16s from our elite section. 13 of that squad that won the Surrey Cup are coming into the academy. We've got players that have now had experience that they wouldn't have got probably if we had a large number of second years. So in terms of experience levels, it's probably going to be the most experienced and the highest quality we've ever had. That gives you no right, of course, but I do expect us to be not only competitive but successful as well. So really looking forward to that, and obviously what restarted and what Ruben, for 2/3 of the season continued and finished off brilliantly was an incredible campaign in the Southern Combination League to reach a semi-final, and to also finish third for the second year running is an incredible statement in terms of our club pathway. In that team, I remember watching the Godalming game in the semi-final. In that game, there was 7, 8 academy players. 7, 8, 16, 17, 18-year-olds playing in a game in front of 400, 500 people. At a non-league, semi-professional level, and that just bodes so well for the sort of pathway and the progress of those learners and those players. So, yeah, loads of really good experiences this year, loads of learning curves, and we're looking to push on.
We very much are looking to push on because going into 23-24, our B team, we're moving to a world there where it will be comprised solely of academy players, which is fantastic. We're obviously continuing in the National League again, and we're also welcoming a couple of other teams to the academy as well, including a girls team as well for the season ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's two I want to focus on there. Like, we're going to keep our pathway as it is in terms of what we've had this year, and we're really looking forward to the growth of all teams. But the B team going to a solely sort of full-time model is going to be massive in terms of having all the sort of full-time players that we have within the academy. In that, we've made that decision due to the quality that we've got coming through, and we've made that decision to allow us to have more contact time with those players. So it's going to be huge for that team. The average age will go down even more because of the quality of our first years. That squad's already gone back to training. They've had their first week, got their first game tomorrow against Stansfield. So, yeah, Ruben's got a fantastic group of young players that we couldn't have really a better man in charge to develop players and coach them in the sort of Dorking Wanderers way. So we've got high hopes again, but naturally it will be there will be a bedding in period in terms of the formalities of that. But yeah, we're excited that we've put everything in place, management team, contact time with the players, and all the sort of nuts and bolts that should make it a successful season for them. And success for that team is, of course, league position. That's the obvious one, winning games. We want that to be the case. But the development of those players, I think, are going to skyrocket due to the sort of exposure they're going to get in certain situations. That rigorous, Saturday 3 p.m. 38-week season is something that not many 16, 17-year-olds get exposure to, and that will only aid their development. So, and then the other one is the ladies, so the girls team. We've had 7 or 8 girls in the academy this year who have had to put up with playing minimal games. We've had to get players from our other girls teams lower down the pathway, and we've put on fixtures for them in a friendly capacity. But their time, commitment, effort has not faults. There's no faults in what they've done in terms of their training, how their concentration, their commitment to the program has been exceptional. So I'm so pleased next year that we're going to be able to have a fully fledged squad competing out of a competitive league, which looks like it'll be the Tactics League. So yeah, that's going to be a really proud moment for everyone involved at the club, especially myself, when I see them kick off their first league game. That'll be amazing, and I'm so proud of the current girls. I'm really looking forward to welcoming the new girls in and seeing that team, go on to do what the ladies have done and push those first team ladies players all the way and try and get in that squad.
No, fantastic progress and development going into next season on the footballing side. Also on the education side, some key developments. We've got a partnership with Carrington School starting up at the Key Stage 4 level for next year, which is very exciting. And we're looking to welcome even more students again, of course, for the BTEC here at the Academy, but also on the A levels with Ashcombe and Donotton as well.
Yeah, so obviously the Carrington partnership just extends our pathway on a full-time capacity. So now, rather than just having 16 to 19-year-olds in a full-time capacity, we're going to have 14 to 19-year-olds. So we're going to have 24 learners in year 10 next year at Carrington who are going to follow a curriculum, a football curriculum on a full-time basis to develop them as footballers. And so they come through our pathway, when they finish their 2 years of GCSE, into one of our pathways here, whether it be the BTEC, the A levels, and then in through that, and then in through to the B team, and hopefully we get a first team player, both ladies and male, from that. So it's just an extension. It's going to allow us to have so many more opportunities to develop players from a younger age group, and obviously as well, a lot of them play on the weekend for us. So it's just complementing what we already do and adding loads of value to the pathway in sort of a longer term plan. So Ben Dyson will be heading up that team and will be the head coach down there. So, and Mr. Lockhart, Mike Lockhart, who's a great friend of the club anyway, through his bunch of amateurs connections. He was the original bunch of amateurs with Gaffer Barks. So there's obviously a lot of networking that's taken place, and then a lot of like dotting the I's and crossing the T's that have been no-brainers for both parties. So yeah, that's going to be massive. It's going to be massive for the club, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that grow over the next year. And so we've signed a long-term agreement, so it's definitely one that's longer term, going to really pay dividends. But looking forward already just to see the players back for pre-season in their kit, in their school. Just spreading the Dorking Wanderers name and all the good work we do in the community.
You mentioned this just a moment ago when we were talking about the girls' team going into a league for next season. Dorking Wanderers women's side, and yeah, a fantastic campaign they've had this year, winning the league title and the Capital Cup as well, of course. And they'll be competing in the 5th tier of the women's pyramid for the first time next season. So a fantastic campaign and really great progress again, just given the formation 2020, what a journey they've been on.
Yeah, so again, we had a plan when myself and Kat at the time brought Mole Valley first team over and made Dorking ladies, Dorking women as they're known as now. Is obviously we had a plan for them to go through, but never did I ever see the sort of the steep trajectory that they've been on, to go from being at Meadowbank, and then obviously Callum Best coming in and the training and then to go into a world where they're now getting so many fans, up and down to games on a Sunday, and you're talking 150, 200 fans in attendance. It's just that, again, it's more, of course, the on-field success is really important, and we want to have a successful teams in the sort of win, draw, loss columns, of course we do. But the community aspect of it is just massive for the club in terms of engagement, and what Lou, Kez, Jamie, Martin, Callum, and all the team at the women's team, what they've done is incredible. And I really look forward to seeing them compete at Tier 5. And, who knows, they could go again, and, they've got plans to kick on. And, so, yeah, it's massive. And I'm really looking forward to working with them again to bring in new ideas, and we're already looking at development teams and stuff like that to increase that pathway. We've got 3 or 4 new girls teams next year joining the youth section and the elite section. So that side of things is probably the biggest change over the last 2 3 years, and it's one of those that I don't think gets enough credit. There's a lot of people who put a lot of work into that, a lot of people, and I think it's one of them. In a couple of years' time, no pressure, Lou, Kez, and Cal, but I genuinely think we'll look back on it and go, "Cole, what a success!" Even though the success is noted now, but to do what they've done in such a short space of time, 3 years, is massive, massive.
At the top of this year, we announced an amalgamation of our academy and youth sections within the football club. Just looking at the youth section, yeah, another great year of progress. We just obviously had just this past Sunday we had the awards day, didn't we, at West
Yeah,
Humble, which was a great success. But no, fantastic to see such progress, and again welcoming even more teams into the frame next season.
yeah, yeah. So that was a massive um, item on our agenda in the closed season of last year. It was one that sort of started during the season, but it was really key that we brought everything in house. One, so we could police the coaching, so that we could manage player progression, so that there was alignment in terms of how people worked, whether that be on a social media front, whether that be on just a policies and procedure. And that has paid huge dividends this year with a lot more people getting to know each other. Club is all about the people behind the scenes, the managers at your youth setups, and we've been able to, unlike before, really bring people together um, through that amalgamation. Before my time, yes, I was aware of the youth players, and we would do our bit, but where it was a slightly sort of separate entity, you obviously didn't have that sort of alignment. And now, the under 7 managers, we speak to them on a regular basis. We've got 2 full-time members of staff that look after the phases and work closely with the managers. And I've got to know so many youth players now, and so has the club itself in terms of like Mark, Chris. I've got to know a lot more people behind the scenes, and that's only paid dividends in terms of like the attendances and people buying into the club and realizing that we are about the community, and we want to empower Dorking in many ways, not just on a footballing front.
And some success stories as well in our youth section. A few of our teams, of course, went on to win their leagues as well, which is fantastic. Just before we finish up, Jordan, just want to touch on a couple of the real success stories of the season. Just announced in the last few weeks, the signings from the academy to the first team of Jack Saunders and Callum Backhurst. I know we got comment from you at the time of the announcement of those 2 signings, but just some words and recognition for Jack and Callum.
Yeah, so Jack is just an outstanding individual. Like there's some people see things as things are given, and a lot of the players at the academy and the coaches would have seen that it was undoubted that Jack was going to go on and achieve good things. But I think you can really take your eye off how hard he's worked. He is an outstanding learner. He's achieved above his target grade. He has probably one of the longest travels in terms of he comes from Bromley. He has bought into the club tenfold in terms of his commitment. He's here on a Tuesday night last year until 10 o'clock. So he comes in at 8 o'clock, leaves at 10 o'clock at night. He's done that Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. One of the most, if not the most, capped player for the B team last year. Most consistent performer across all teams he played in. Was one of the players that if he wasn't involved, you noticed it. So yeah, he deserves massive credit because his professionalism has been undoubted. And just watching him this week with the first team, on a Tuesday and Thursday, he is in awe of them, but he is equal, if that makes sense. He deserves to be where he is. There's a lot of work for him to do. Of course, there is. There's a long way in his journey to go, but to be on that field, he should feel empowered to go out there and express himself and show Mark and Ross and Dukey and Dino what he can offer, because he has a lot to offer the club. And I genuinely will say that he's all round the best player I've ever worked with. Best player I've ever worked with within the academy. And You know, in my time I've worked with now probably around 600 players, and he is, and that's not diminishing anyone else, but he all round he has been an absolute credit to his family, to the club, and yeah, I look forward to seeing the next stage in his journey. And then likewise with Callum, obviously came to us from Woking after having a difficult period there, wanted to find the love for football again, and threw himself into the academy and to the B team. Was unfortunate with injury once we sent him out on loan. But sometimes in your most difficult hours, when you see the character of an individual, he was attending first team games, he was doing strength work, he was working really hard, and his performances early on in the season, you could see the calibre of keeper that he was, and is. So yeah, we've really been impressed with him, and I think this year with the right management in terms of a right loan, which is what we're looking for these lads after pre-season. I think he'll have a great season. Great season.
And just finally, Jordan, it's June 30th. It's officially the last day of the academic term. Just some final words before we break up for the summer.
When you said that, big smile on my face. Yeah. No, it's been a great year. No time to rest. It's a break, which will include a lot of planning, a lot of prep, and the learners deserve the time off, the next 4 weeks off, before we return for pre-season on the 1st of August. We've got a lot of stuff to look forward to. Tour on Sunday. We're going away for 8 days with our learners, and so there's a lot going on still. But yeah, to look back on the year, just with you now, Dan, and it does make me very proud of everyone, and a big thank you to all the staff, yourself, Dan, Josh, Ben, Cave, Mitch, all the staff that put in untold hours for all of the sections. Nothing's ever too much, and that commitment, that mentality, and the type of people we have at this club is the reason we have those firsts, and is the reason why these learners achieve fantastic grades and have the moments on the pitch that they do. So for me, it's a huge thank you to all of you, a huge thank you to all the parents who have supported us throughout the year, and roll on 23-24.